Hello everyone, welcome back to Talking Reds, where we bring you the latest Liverpool news and transfer news and much, much more. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a potential double swoop from Liverpool to Newcastle United. Alexander Isak and Lewis Hall being linked to a move to Anfield this summer. A huge price tag on Alexander Isak as well that's come out. A potential move for Florian Wirtz by Leverkusen as well. And also 3 players that could potentially leave Liverpool this summer as well. So this summer is going to be a huge, huge summer, regardless of whatever happens with the contracts, which we are going to be speaking about later on live, hopefully this evening. So make sure you get your notification bells on for that. I'm going to speak about the contracts. But in terms of transfer news, I think Arne Slot is certainly wanting transfers in the summer and certainly wanting to strengthen. He did say that the other day. He said, look, we are working in the background looking at strengthening summer for potential seasons and especially going for trophies every single season. So he has a standard. He's also reiterated that standard this morning in the press conference, saying, like, if you want to play for this club, you need to be at a Salah level or you are almost useless to play at this club. That is the standard Arne Slot has here. And I tweeted this morning, would Arne Slot accept a Kabak? Would Arne Slot accept an Arthur Melo as a stopgap? I don't think he would, you know. I don't think he would. He has a standard at this club, and this is where we're going to see FSG now. This is where we're going to see FSG if they are serious about what happens on the field. Audrey said something about that yesterday, which I will be addressing later on because it made me chuckle a little bit. But yeah, I like the standard that Arne Slot has, and the fact that he says, look, if you want to be playing for this club, you need to be Arne Slot level, and he needs to be Mohamed Salah level, but he also needs to be Arne Slot level as well. But yeah, you need to be Mohamed Salah level, and that tells you everything that you need to know of who we should be going for in the transfer window as well. So let's start with the transfer news then, and specifically the Alexander Isak news. We're going to start with Alexander Isak, and Mirror Football have come out and said that Liverpool are wanting to sign Alexander Isak, but Newcastle will demand 180 million euros for the striker. 180 million euros, guys. 180 million euros. Even I have my limits. Look, that is ridiculous. What's that, about 165, 170 million pounds? That's too much. I don't see them asking for that sort of money. I mean, if they get Champions League football, Newcastle, then they could put any price on they want. But I think even Newcastle think, hang on a second, if he wants to leave and we're not can't put this price tag on him, that is out of Liverpool's. That is out of many teams' reach, especially with FSG. I think 100 million, 105, depending on if Newcastle get the Champions League or not. I think that could knock. If they don't get Champions League, then that could knock a little bit of price off. But I'd happily pay £100 million for Alexander Isak. Because at the end of the day, this guy's a proven Premier League striker. For me, I've said on here a few times, complete striker. The way he drives with the ball, the way he scores goals, the way he brings into wingers, he would suit Liverpool down to the ground. His injury record has been iffy, but this season it's been okay, I think, and it's starting to show like he's showing that he can play much, much more often, and which is perfect for Liverpool. I think alongside Salah, if Salah's here next season, alongside Salah and Gakpo, he would be the ideal striker for me. There is words on obviously Kuna. People want Kuna as well, a cheaper option. But it's not about just going for the cheaper option all the time. I think Kuna would work under Slot. I think Alexander Isak would work under Slot. I think Alexander Isak a better striker. And for me, at Liverpool, as Arne Slot said, if you want to be playing for Liverpool, you need to be that level. You need to be a certain standard. And I think Alexander Isak is certainly that standard right now. I think he takes it to another level, which is mad for potentially Premier League champions. Takes it to another level. I think I can't imagine Salah, Gakpo and Isak as a front three. It'd be just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, this was also backed up by Anfield Watch, who came up with an exclusive about that Liverpool are interested in Alexander Isak. They also mentioned, get it up now, Lewis Hall is a potential summer signing for Liverpool. The Reds believe he could be their Andy Robertson successor. Look, Andy Robertson is pretty much should be a background player now for Liverpool. If we're absolutely honest with ourselves, I think he's been sensational servant for Liverpool. We've got an absolute bargain, £8 million from Hull, who went down. One of the best signs we've ever had at this club for me, in terms of the price, in terms of what he's given us, what he has, what he gives us off the pitch as well as on the pitch. He's been absolutely sensational, and what he gives us off the pitch as well is exactly why I'd want to keep him. People will be questioning where do you move Robertson on, Tsimikas on. I'd personally move Tsimikas on, bring a left back in, and have Andy Robertson as that backup left back and what he does around the club as well. I think he's a sensational person to have around the club. His experience, is the way he gets involved with the squad, how good he is with the squad. I think is absolutely crucial for if we want to go for win for titles in the future, if we want to go for trophies in the future. He, in the background, at least in the background, is absolutely crucial. So I would personally keep Andy Robertson, move Tsimikas on, and get a left back in. Lewis Hall is one of those left backs that Liverpool are potentially looking to sign. Kirkis has been, obviously, it's mentioned as well. Paul Joyce mentioned Kirkis the other day about being interested. He's one of the names that Liverpool are looking at. Hato has also been mentioned. But Lewis Hall, this exclusive here from Anfield Watch is certainly one I'm looking at because Lewis Hall has been sensational. Probably one of the most underrated players at Newcastle. This season, I think, is stepped up even further. It's been nice to watch someone who doesn't have the hype that other English talents get play like he has for me, and he would be certainly one I would look at to get in the summer. There will be a list. Look, Arne Slot will have his list. Edwards, Hughes, whoever in the background will have a list of players. I think Kirkes, Hato, probably Nori might be on there. Lewis Hall will certainly be on there. But what I see this as a potential banana squint. If we are going in for Isak, I can't see us getting Lewis Hall as well. I think it's hard to buy from Premier League clubs that are so close to you up in the table. Obviously not a direct rival of Newcastle, but they are certainly a rival up in the top six. And it's hard to buy from those clubs, especially when they put big price tags, as you've seen there on Ireland, Isak, 180 million euros. I think Lewis Hall will be at least 40 million quid, 50 million quid for left back. And to potentially go for both, I think one's potentially possible, but both, I can't see that. I can't see Newcastle selling two players to Liverpool. I can't see any club at the top selling two players to a club that's close to them in the league. I can't see anyone doing that. I'd be very, very shocked if that ever happened. But look, if we ain't going to pay the money for Alexander Isak, and if they do put a price tag on that at 180 million euros, I'd say, hang on a second, no, I'm not paying. That's ridiculous. But if Alexander Isak's about £100 million, I would really, really go for him. I'd make that one of the priorities to sort out. But if Alexander Isak's out of range and under FSG, there's a lot of players out of range. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It shouldn't be at Liverpool. I think the standards at Liverpool, like Arne Slot said, look, if I'm going to be that player, I don't think anyone should be out of reach at Liverpool. But under FSG, a lot of players are out of reach. I think if Alexander Isak is out of reach, then I think Lewis Hall certainly should be a player that we're looking at and potentially bringing in. I think it'd be a perfect replacement for Andy Robertson and learn off Andy Robertson as well. But yeah, I do like that link. But I like Kirkes, I like a few left backs that we are being linked to. So, but left back is certainly a position we are, I'd say, guaranteed to buy in the summer. Also, another link with Florian Wirtz. So the news about Florian Wirtz, it came out from Simon Jones at Mail. Speaking about players that are out of reach, speaking of players that are priced out of reach for Liverpool and FSG, I think Florian Wirtz is certainly another one. I think that it probably would be out of reach for our price tags. 21 years old, by Liverpool, an attacking midfielder, probably one of the biggest talents in the world. You're talking, what he's done at his age as well, what he's done at winning a Bundesliga title. He's a big part of Germany right now. I think it's a big price tag. Definitely over 100 million again. Again, imagine us getting Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak on FSG one summer. That's talk about impossible tasks for me. But again, another one with Florian Wirtz, I sort of get the link because it's one of the best players in the world. It's certainly a player that Arne Slot will probably like. Florian Wirtz, I'll take Florian Wirtz. This is the level that I want at Liverpool. But attacking midfielder could play on left as well. It's not a position what we're looking at, really. I think there is talk about, also, we're going to talk about Harvey Elliott in a minute and his potential future at Liverpool. But with the way Szoboszlai is playing at Liverpool, I can't see us buying a Wirtz to swap around with Szoboszlai as an attacking midfielder. I always want competition for players, but I think Wirtz is a bit out of our reach in terms of, because we've already got Szoboszlai, having two class talents like that in the same position is very hard to keep. I wouldn't really look too much into the Florian Wirtz links, but if that's the players that we're linked to, then that's the players that we're linked to, and it's nice to be linked to players like this. But again, we're linked to players like this all the time. We've been linked with Bellingham, we've been linked with Mbappe before, we've been linked with many players that have this talent, but we never ever put up really. So is things changing under Arne Slot? I don't know. FSG going to show a little bit more ambition under Arne Slot? I don't know. I really don't know. Certainly, I'm not hopeful of that happening. I think Arne Slot is as a person that has certain standards, and he will accept certain transfers. I'm honest, but he's not worked under FSG before, and yet he will come into a certain standard at Liverpool, saying, "Look, this is Liverpool standard." But he will, like Jurgen Klopp, have his hands tied behind his back. I'm not saying I want Florian Wirtz. I think anyone will take Florian Wirtz right now. I think Arne Slot will certainly take Florian Wirtz, but I don't think it's a potential transfer that Liverpool could be making. I think Alexander Isak is much more of a chance in terms of what we need as well as what we want. We certainly need a striker going forward. Because obviously, Darwin Nunez, it looks like he's out of the door. We're going to go into that in a minute. But Florian Wirtz, for me, I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments if you think anything different. I don't think Florian Wirtz is a player that Liverpool will be getting in the summer, for me. So, yeah, the 3 players that could be going out of Liverpool. Darwin Nunez, obviously. The talk of Darwin Nunez is intensifying in leaving Liverpool. Paul Joyce has come out and said Darwin Nunez is likely to leave Liverpool now. So Paul Joyce is basically probably the most reliable journalist for Liverpool, the one closest to the club. And when he says Darwin Nunez is off, he's off. If we're absolutely honest with ourselves, Darwin Nunez is Liverpool's career is done. And Arne Slot's choices of striker in the past few months has been absolutely key for me to see what he thinks of Darwin Nunez. He doesn't rate Darwin Nunez at all, and he called him out last week for his attitude. I've always thought about his attitude issues and wanting to improve. It doesn't seem like he wants to improve Darwin Nunez. He's had potential to improve, but it doesn't seem like he's working on to improve. He hasn't improved on finishing, and that's something you can work on in training. That's you do a little bit more than what's needed to be. That's what separates the best in the world from not the best in the world. Is the hard work they put in. It doesn't seem for me that Darwin Nunez wants to do that. It doesn't seem for me, and I think that attitude and that mentality issue that he has, I think is going to hold him back from being a good, really, really good player. And Arne Slot, look, it's quite clear don't like him. Quite clear don't like him. He's played Luis Diaz up front, who's a left winger. He's played Jota up front when he can. The other day we played 2 10s instead of Darwin Nunez because Jota was out. He's done. Darwin Nunez is done at Liverpool, and it is what it is. It hasn't worked out. Some players just don't work out at Liverpool. Played a lot of money for him. It's just a shame that he hasn't seemed to have put the work into to get better. For me, that's the biggest shame out of it all. Because he had potential of being a good player, but it is what it is. See you later. Good luck in your next club. That's all I've got to say to Darwin Nunez. So 2 other players that could potentially be out of Liverpool are Luis Diaz and Harvey Elliott. So a little bit on Luis Diaz. It's all come from Paul Joyce. Chatter about Luis Diaz, who has 2 years left on his deal. Moving on is forever seemingly in the background. So yeah, Luis Diaz has always been linked away from Liverpool in the past few years. Barcelona's been the main team to be linked with him. Obviously, he's linked to his family, and the South American thing going to Barcelona Real Madrid seems a very likely option all the time with South Americans because that's the clubs that they look at over there. The links between his family and Barcelona as well is always going to be there, and I think the way Luis Diaz is playing right now is going to intensify the talks of him leaving because he's on a very, very low wage for a player that's seen as important at times at Liverpool. It has seen as being important. But this season, I don't think he's kicked on again. I think it's another one of them ones where he showed last season towards the beginning of this season. He showed that he can do it again. And I thought, yes, this is the Luis Diaz we want back. This is the one we've been asking for. But he just hasn't pushed on again. Not as much as Darwin Nunez. I think Darwin Nunez just does it in spells. But Luis Diaz at times, he's been sensational. One of our best players. But doing it 2 months and then stopping, not being at the level that we need to have at this club for the rest of the season is not good enough. And this is why players, a lot of players, a lot of people, a lot of fans wanted to move down Luis Diaz on in the summer and being linked to the likes of Anthony Gordon, who would continue to do it this season. Anthony Gordon's been another sensational season for Newcastle. this is why these links and this is why fans spoke about this in the summer, because Luis Diaz hasn't kicked on. He hasn't kicked on, and obviously I wanted to see him. I was happy to keeping Luis Diaz. I'm still sort of happy to keep Luis Diaz if he kicks on again. But I'm just hoping he does kick on again, because he has shown that he can be a class talent. Unfortunately, just not enough. Just not for long enough. Harvey Elliott, another player that is being linked out for Liverpool as well. I apologise as I had his word on that as well. Harvey Elliott must reflect on whether he will be getting the playing time he craves at Liverpool. So, speaking of Arne Slot, I'm not a fan of players. He's clearly not been a fan of Darwin Nunez. But he seems to be not a fan of Harvey Elliott, because Harvey Elliott has hardly got a sniff under Arne Slot. The first games that he did come back, he played sensational in pre-season. Harvey Elliott got injured, came out very well. I thought he played sensation when he came back originally, but then since then, the time he has played, I think he's been very, very poor. And I'm a big advocate of Harvey Elliott. I was a big fan of Harvey Elliott. I said, look, now we've got a manager that's going to play number 10. I'd love to see Harvey Elliott in that 10 position. Much more, because I think that 10 position would suit Harvey Elliott. But maybe she's not physical enough for Arne Slot. And some players won't work under certain managers. Some players don't work under certain managers. It's not a detriment on that player. You see players all the time. But I mean, look at Chelsea have let go. They've let go of De Bruyne and Salah at Chelsea. Yeah, they were younger, but it didn't work out there. It doesn't mean that they're not going to work out somewhere else. And if Harvey Elliott doesn't work under Arne Slot, he might have worked under Jurgen Klopp a bit better. But if he ain't going to work out under Arne Slot, doesn't mean that's bad on Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott has shown enough for me that he can be a world-class talent. Absolutely. In the right team, in the right system, with the right manager, I think he can be an absolute talent. And I think anyone will be very, very lucky to snap up Harvey Elliott if he is to leave Liverpool. It's a tricky one, this one, because I'm a big Harvey Elliott fan. I want him to stay at Liverpool. I think he can still work at Liverpool. But I do trust Arne Slot on who he trusts. And if he doesn't think Harvey Elliott suits him, then I'll look. Fair play, Slot. You better get a good replacement for him, because he's a top talent. I don't know where he'd go. He's a Liverpool fan as well, which makes it even harder, because he has shown commitment to Liverpool. He has said, look, I want to stay at Liverpool. So it'd be very, very interesting to see the future of Harvey Elliott and who would go for Harvey Elliott. I don't know who would. I don't know, Maybe Chelsea. I mean, look what they've done to Cole Palmer. Man City let Cole Palmer go. Chelsea now has become one of the best in the league. Could Chelsea do similar to... I've not seen anyone linked to Harvey Elliott. This is not an exclusive, by the way, that Chelsea linked to Harvey. I'm just giving an example of who could he potentially go to. I think Chelsea... I think he would shine at Chelsea. I think they do what they've done with Cole Palmer with Harvey Elliott. I can't see him going because of... I don't know. It's a tricky one, this one. I really can't see him going. But if Arne Slot doesn't like him, then it's up to the board or whoever in the background to back Arne Slot. Whether they do or not, that's a different question completely. Because there's been plenty of times where Jurgen Klopp's been given players that he didn't clearly ask for or clearly want. I mean, Arne Slot got Chiesa in the summer, and the reports the other day were saying, "Look, Chiesa wanted his signing." So this is a big summer, guys. This is a big summer for FSG. They've got to show us that they care about this football club. They care about the football on the pitch, and they care about Arne Slot, because Arne Slot is quite clear with his actions who he doesn't like, who he does like, who he wants to go for the future. He wants Arne Slot. He wants Mohamed Salah to stay. He reiterated again this morning. He said, "Look, he's playing at a certain level. If that means the expense is going up, so you got to pay him what he's worth." I think that's what Arne Slot said this morning about Mohamed Salah, and I want him to extend. It's quite clear Arne Slot says a lot with his actions. Exactly what Jurgen Klopp said, I thought a lot. And now it's up to put up or shut up now for FSG for me. Put up or shut up. I'm FSG out because I can't see them ever changing their ways. I can't see them ever caring about the club, really. They came on by my financials, which Paul Joyce said something yesterday about financials, and they did do one thing that was football decision. I'm going to address that later on live at So make sure you do tune in at 6:30 this evening, because I will be going live to speak about the latest on contracts, on the free contracts, Virgil, Salah and Trent, and what Paul Dry said yesterday, which made me chuckle a little bit. But I think it's quite clear what Arne Slot has standards at this club, and that's what needs to be backed this summer. Whether they do or not, that's a different question. Make sure you do, guys. Make sure you do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and get your notification bells on as well. Like I said, I will be live later on. Got some big plans for this channel coming up in the future. Big challenge of mine coming up as well. Thank you for watching. Make sure you have a great day, and stay tuned for more Liverpool news. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, guys.